I would say yes and no. So on the positive side, Taiwan has already announced the roadmap and has written the ultimate 2050 target into law. But on the other hand, first, we think it's lacking economic incentives to achieve most of the technical transitions. Second, the goal of 2030 is totally illogical. And the third, the roadmap is over-counting on international support on hydrogen and carbon credits, but not pragmatically cut down our emission once and for all.
What do you mean by this lack of economic incentives?
Also, when we say the lack of economic incentives, we're talking about carbon pricing policy. The real problem is the carbon price level our government is about to collect is way too low to be effective. Normally, the technical transition starts to happen when the carbon price hits about 1,500 to 2,000 NTD per ton carbon dioxide emitted. That is roughly 50 to 70 US dollars. But according to previous discussion, the government is only willing to set the price at like 100 NTD. With this kind of low price and that big gap, we don't expect it to provide enough incentives for people to make any changes. Without a fair carbon price, those wonderful stories from the net zero roadmap will not happen for sure.
And what is, you mentioned this kind of 2030 sort of intermediate goal. What are the goals for that period?
We think the 2030 reduction goal of Taiwan is too passive. According to IPCC's report, the world must cut its own emission by 43% at least in order to reach 2050 net zero. The logic behind this is just marginal effect. As we reduce more and more emission, difficulty reducing further will rise gradually. So in order to hit 2050 net zero, it requires us to rapidly do the easier 40% in the first decade and tackle on the rest 60% with double amount of time. However, Taiwan's reduction goal for 2030 is just 20%. So we will have a hard time to catch up.
And you talk about international support as well. What are the ways in which Taiwan is relying on international support to reach its net zero goal?
Taiwan is counting on too much hydrogen power and carbon credit as well that come from overseas. The good carbon credit will be in hot demand. So is green hydrogen. When every country is claiming that they will buy those things from abroad, who's gonna sell them, right? This is a simple economic problem. Too much demand, thus no supply. There's also a great chance that the hydrogen that we buy is not really the good hydrogen we call green hydrogen. But instead, we'll be buying in dirty hydrogen that is produced by burning more fossil fuel or nuclear fuel in other countries.
If Taiwan doesn't meet its goals and if the world falls behind on its goals, what are the kinds of threats that Taiwan will face in the future?
Well, Taiwan is an island located in subtropical region. That means we directly face the challenges of heat waves, of typhoons, of heavy rain, and rise of sea level. It's like an all-in-one pack of climate catastrophe. Last year, we had the longest drought in 56 years, I remember, and the hottest summer in 74 years altogether in 1 year, last year. So if climate change goes on, this record is just going to be broken more frequently.
What can ordinary people do to make a difference?
We would really like people to use their actions to tilt the world to kind of better direction. You can choose to take public transportation instead of driving yourself. Or if you really have to drive, get an electric car. You can reduce the usage of plastic products, especially disposable plastic, as they take up a lot of fossil fuels to produce. And you can also buy things from companies that commit to use 100% or or at least some portion of renewable energy. You can vote for politicians that support more progressive environmental policies, and you can go to the website of government, attend the public hearing to tell them what you want. There are actually all sorts of things you can do. Or you can just, also choose to make donation to Greenpeace or other NGOs who are fighting the big trend for a better future. And of course, that good future is for everyone to share.